Okay, episode 4 of Shelf Space is live. We're live streaming today. So don't screw up, Gina.
Okay, okay, Chris. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. How's your weekend going so far?
It's okay. It's
Okay, good.
okay. Yeah,
Good. So I think we got lots to talk about today.
we do.
Some movie news, we got some gaming news, some statue news. We got to recap. So at the end of the show, we'll recap the recent STGCC from Singapore. So lots of new stuff to talk about there.
Yeah.
So first of all, the sort of the big movie news I think for the week, Superman was Henry Cavill was out, and then he was kind of back in again. So, um, what did you think of the news when you first heard it? They would,
Um, I, I guess my first thought was he was out. That this was a pretty much set and done deal. He's now out. But then as the story progressed, and then his agent, I think, released a statement saying, no, we're still working with Warner Brothers. To me, it sort of became apparent that perhaps, both sides were sort of negotiating through the media. This is their way. They had stopped talking to one another, and they just began negotiating and sort of leaking truths and half truths through the media. So, we really don't know what's happening.
yeah, I mean, it kind of started off. I mean, there was going to be, there was all this tension apparently between them. Here's an angry face Superman, um, and then it was going to be, oh, there's going to be a new Superman. It's going to be Michael B. Jordan,
Yeah.
which seemed a little far fetched, but hey, I guess you never
That
know.
that is not real. That to me just looks like Warner Brothers trying to do sort of a stranglehold on Henry Cavill, saying that, hey, we're getting new casting. We're looking at
Yeah,
other. Yeah.
they could have maybe tried to pick someone a little. I don't know. I can't picture him as
No.
Superman. He's
No.
he's a bit of a whiner in a lot of his roles. I find, and he doesn't have that Superman persona for me. But as you said, we have a statement from Henry Cavill's agent.
Yep.
Um, so then she says, "Okay, anticipate a statement from Warner Brothers later today." And here's the statement. Um, but I don't know. I read this statement. I was like, well, they didn't really outright deny it either,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I don't know what.
It sounds like they're still like negotiating that. You
Yeah,
know.
and then we got this
Yes.
an Instagram video, which I didn't follow that at all. Like,
I didn't get it either. Is that
uh,
is that a Black Panther sticker on, like, what's that?
maybe
So
maybe I
it's
didn't notice that before.
yeah, is that his he's sort of trying to include that rumors about Michael B. Jordan in his video. I don't know. Um it just seems like there's only three people that know. Henry Cavill, his agent, and Warner Brothers. That's the only ones that really knows what's going on here, and they're just negotiating. But I mean, Chris, do you think the DC cinematic universe is doomed without Henry Cavill, or
Yes, yes.
and why? Okay.
Well, I think he's just such an awesome Superman. He's got the look, he's got the whole persona nailed down. I think he's awesome as Superman. He kind of launched, Man of Steel launched the whole new universe and was pretty good, sort of despite Zack Snyder's involvement.
So you
Um,
you're not a Zack Snyder fan.
not, no, I'm not a huge fan of his, but that movie was okay. And I thought Michael Shannon was really good as Zod.
Yeah.
That whole his whole little speech while he before he goes to the negative zone, I will
Yep.
find him, right? That just really set the intensity. I thought it was a good movie, and then they had a few stumbling blocks, and then Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
If they ever lost Gal Gadot, then for sure
Yeah,
it's done.
she's.
I
I
think she's the number one, but Henry
yeah.
Cavill is 1A really
So,
for me.
well, yeah, I mean, I think I see it a bit differently than you do, because I really do like Henry Cavill as Superman, and I mean, I'm not a total fan of the films. I thought there were some good points. Any shortcomings of the film had nothing to do with Henry Cavill, in my opinion. I think he was amazing. I think he did the best with what he could do with the material.
Yeah,
Um, but why I don't think the DC universe is doomed without him is, um, I mean, there's other actors that can pick up the mantle, and I think one source from Warner Brothers mentioned that, well, they see Superman like James Bond, where it's such a iconic franchise that, they can go 3 4 years without having a film and then cast someone else, and that person, that actor can still pick up the mantle. um so I don't know, I don't think it's doomed as much as I do like Henry Cavill.
Okay,
um
so yeah, I understand what you're saying. They've had different Superman. They can totally recast them. Do you think this DC universe that they're working on right now, do you think that one is doomed, or do you think they'd have to start
I
over?
think that's a better question.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the one that came up with this question here,
Yeah.
but I think that question is better. Is the DC cinematic universe now doomed? Because they're now rebooting, perhaps. Um, yes,
Yeah. So
I,
that's what
if
I'm
this is
getting
true,
at. Yeah.
yes, I would
This
agree with
current
you on that.
incarnation, I think they have to pretty much scrap it if they lose him,
Yes,
which would be too bad because, as I said, Gal Gadot is she's pretty good.
I mean, I think they'll keep her though. I think
Yeah,
they'll keep her.
they might have to. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
and
she really.
one last point about this news about Henry Cavill. I was reading some other articles suggesting that perhaps, Warner Brothers tried to do their own DC cinematic universe in the same pattern as Marvel. Obviously, have all their characters, separate movies come together. But now, what maybe perhaps what Warner Brothers is trying to do is just do individual films. Like, for example, this
Yeah.
new Joker film now with Joaquin Phoenix is completely separate from their Suicide Squad, Joker, and all this. So this could be just this news here could be sort of the start of something different. They're just doing individual films from different actors are playing the same character, different from different directors, and this might be the a dawn of a new type of
Yeah.
system
I,
that they're doing.
I think they took the wrong track right from the beginning, trying to jump into the Justice League too fast, and then and Batman versus Superman. Oh, all of a sudden here's Flash, here's Aquaman, here's Cyborg. Boom, and then next movie they're all
I
there.
think they got, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I think when they announced what they were doing, they got a lot of criticism. Well, not sorry, not criticism, but they got a lot of pessimistic, cynical comments from fans saying this can't. They're just too late on the ball. They can't do it. Um, I kind of agree. I think that the problem was, um, Zack Snyder. I think then perhaps he wasn't the right one.
yeah,
And he has his fans, and that makes perfect sense, and I understand that he has his fans, and I do think that that his cinematography and his visuals are amazing.
sure.
But in terms of storytelling and creating an entire universe that is in sync with it, with all the characters are in sync, I think they started off on the wrong foot because of the director that they chose. But just personal opinions.
Yeah. So to answer that, I think the current DC cinematic universe, I think it would be finished without Henry Cavill. But other movie news, we got some teaser images from Captain Marvel.
Yep.
This is the next big Marvel movie, right? This is the next one coming out. Do
Yep.
you know the release date? It's probably early
Next
next year.
year. Oh shoot. Is it next year April, or I could be wrong. I know it's next year.
It's before Infinity War Part Two, I believe.
Yes. So then maybe it is April.
Yeah. So here
Yeah.
she is in her full Captain Marvel outfit, the red and the blue and the gold. I think the costume looks pretty good.
That looks
Um,
good.
I think she suits the role pretty well, and I think the movie's taking place in the past. And
Yes.
here's a big clue: the Nine Inch Nails shirt.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's obviously what's the name of the character? What's Captain Marvel's alias? I can't.
Kiro Danvers.
Yes, yeah,
Uh huh.
that's her, right?
Yep.
So obviously in her civilian clothes.
Yep.
And then another co-star in the movie, Jude Law.
Yes. Yes.
I haven't seen him in a movie in a long time.
It's been a
Uh,
while. Yeah.
yeah,
He looks really buff there, eh?
yeah, he looks like he's been working out a little bit.
Yeah. They haven't revealed who exactly he's playing. We don't know yet what character. I believe.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
some kind of her commander or something like that.
Yeah.
But if he's good or bad, I don't know. So yeah, there's him. Looks like his eyes are kind of yellow. I don't know if that's just the lighting, but maybe he's some kind of alien or something.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Um, and we got another shot here, out climbing out of her fighter jet.
Yep.
So she's kind of got the almost like a Green Lantern background story.
That's right. And
Actually, this is very similar to Green Lantern in a lot of ways, right? She's a
mhm,
fighter
she was a fighter
pilot,
pilot.
joins the space cop force. Um, the elite space cops like the Green Lantern Corps, but they're like a Kree um, crime fighting unit, I believe.
Yep.
So here's looks like earlier on in the movie,
Yep.
and they're green and black, and some recognizable characters here that they kind of
Brought
give,
back.
yeah, giving a little bit of a teaser with. You got Ronan, of course,
Yep.
with the hammer, and then Korath. You remember him from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yep.
Well, probably one of the best one-liners from the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
What was
Who?
that? Oh.
Come on, man! Legendary outlaw. That's a great scene, right?
That
So,
line didn't stand out to me.
no,
No,
come
because there
on.
was just so many. There was so many good lines. But I'm glad they're bringing back Lee Pace. So that's amazing.
Yeah, he was
As
good.
Ronan. Yeah. So I guess the question though, Chris, is I mean, judging from the photos, is this another home run? Um,
Uh,
I,
it's hard to tell just from the photos, but I think it's going to
yeah.
be a big hit. This is their first female-led, I
Yeah.
believe. I mean, Wasp was kind of the co-star
Yep.
in the last Ant-Man movie, and really was kind of maybe the slightly in the lead in that movie a little bit. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Wasp was kind of sort of one, and then Ant-Man took a little bit of a backseat to her. But this is the first female star, right? She's not a co-star. It's all about her.
Yep.
I think
So
I think Marvel's really going to push it hard
yeah.
and really try to sell it. I think it's going to be a success for sure.
Yeah, I know that this film has been in production for so long, and even their filming schedule was longer than normal Marvel films. I think they're putting a lot of money into
Yeah.
this film. I mean, Marvel puts a lot of money into all their films, but I think this one they're putting even more money into, more marketing into. They're spending longer in terms of filming. It's a longer filming schedule. Um, I don't know. I sort of get the sense that this is Marvel's version of Superman. This is their Superman. This character in this movie is going to be their Superman.
It could
Um,
be. Yeah.
yeah,
She's, I think, the most powerful character or hero,
and
at
that's
least.
what exactly, and that's what Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel, he says, head of Marvel Films, said that she is going to be the most powerful hero in their cinematic universe. And I don't know, the fact that she has alien powers and this, I think this is their version of Superman.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping they don't bring her in and she single-handedly defeats Thanos, and that I hope it's still a team effort and she
Uh,
doesn't sort of
right,
minimize everyone else's role
right.
just because she's so powerful. But I'm looking forward to the movie. I think
I am
and see
too.
how it ties in.
Yeah.
The fact that it takes place in the past, and I don't want to spoil Ant-Man and Wasp, but I wonder if how that maybe ties in.
Mhm.
Um, I saw one rumor that maybe Doctor Strange, like when he's cycling through his 14 million possibilities,
Yeah.
maybe he'll show up somehow as he's doing that.
Ah, okay.
I think that'd be pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
If he kind of clues her into
Yeah,
what's
what's
going to happen.
happening? That's right.
Um,
Pretty cool.
so yeah, I'm interested in the movie. I think it's definitely going to be a big success. It's going to have the full power of Disney and Marvel behind it for sure in the
Yeah.
marketing department.
Yeah.
It's going to ramp up pretty good. The trailer, I think, is supposed to. I saw a tease that there might be a trailer this week, so
Oh,
um,
wow.
we'll stay tuned for that.
Okay.
Um, Other sort of entertainment news: the new Spider-Man game from PS4 on the PS4 came out. I do have it. I pre-ordered this like years ago, probably like 2 years ago.
Wow.
When it
That's how early it was up for pre-order?
Well, yeah, when Best Buy has these sales, the best of E3, right?
Okay.
And it was at E3, so it was available for pre-order like 2 years ago. And it was on sale at that time,
Okay.
so I picked it up. And I fired it up this morning for the first time. This, like we talked about, I was taking one for the team,
That's right.
and
That was Chris's mission
okay,
was to. No, that was your homework was to play the
yeah,
game.
and
Play for the team.
I gotta say it was awesome. I only played it for a couple hours maybe,
Okay.
and you look at this screenshot here. I mean, this is the graphics are almost that good in during the
Wow.
gameplay.
So that's pretty
Um,
much almost like gameplay
just about,
quality.
yeah.
Wow.
It's awesome. Like I there was a game quite a few years ago called, I think it was Web of Shadows or something. Spider-Man Web of Shadows on Xbox
Okay.
360, and I loved it because it had awesome web swinging. Right, and this is even better. They basically got the whole city model. You can swing anywhere, jump on anything, climb up anything. And one of my favorite things in these games is all the different suits and skins you can get.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a look at sort of all the different suits. They're kind of small icons there, but you got the standard Spider-Man suit is what you start in. Then you can move on to the advanced suit. That's the one with the white logo that everyone that they've
Okay.
been advertising.
Okay.
There's Spider-Man 2099, Negative Zone, the movie suit you can get, the movie Iron Spider-Man suit, a whole bunch of stuff. Armored Spider-Man, Mark IV Spider-Man. Um, Here's the big white chest logo. This is sort of the one that they've been
That's the one
pumping
they've been
as,
advertising. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And
so for like someone like me who I mean I don't regularly play video games. I've banned myself from playing
oh,
because I'm
why's
not
that?
that good. So so yeah,
Well,
I'm sure there's like 10-year-old children out there that can beat me. So I don't I sort of I've sort of taken a back seat when it comes to games. Although I do love games, but I've taken a back seat. So for someone like me who doesn't play regularly, how would you say in terms of being acclimated to the gameplay and to the web slinging? How do you think if I was to pick up the controls, how quickly
well,
do you think?
yeah. I mean, my 4-year-old was sitting there with me playing,
Okay.
and he picked it up pretty quick.
Okay.
He
I'm sure you can beat me.
his hands are kind of tiny, so it takes him a little while. But he
Okay.
picked it up. It's really simple. The controls, they kind of walk you through the first sort of hour of the game. Maybe is mostly tutorial, and it kind of walks you through. Here's how you web swing, and you
Okay.
push this, and then here's how you throw guys around and push this, and then the fighting is great. I can say after that like little bit of gameplay, I can say it's probably the best Spider-Man game ever made.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it beats the old that Web of Shadows one that I used to really like too.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it's a great game, and our key question: beginning of an epic franchise? I would say yes, it
Yes.
is. I think this is going to be the what the Arkham games were to Batman. I
Right.
think this is going to do the same for Spider-Man. It's going to
Right.
launch a
And I
series.
actually read that sort of this Spider-Man game sort of follows the same format as the Arkham
It's very
games.
similar. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can go around. There's I have a feeling I'm going to spend hours and hours just swinging around the city trying to find all the little collectibles and hidden items
And like Easter eggs. Yeah.
and the Easter eggs, trying to unlock the new suits and unlock the powers and stuff. I'm going to spend most of my time doing that because I love that part of the game.
Cool.
Um, so yeah, I think for sure. And in fact, we saw all the extra suits there. The
Uh-huh.
one that key omission there is the black suit.
Oh,
It's
they.
not
Oh.
there,
Oh. Okay.
and I was whining about that on Facebook, and someone told me no, they're planning to make a sequel that focuses on
Oh, that's
the
why.
symbiote thing, so they wanted to leave it out for that,
Gotcha.
which is
Gotcha.
still they still should have had it. It's
Yeah.
that's probably my favorite comic book costume in history. I love the
Oh,
black suit in
seriously.
Spider-Man. So
So did you
uh,
read the story behind that suit and how when they first introduced it, the fans hated it?
the black suit,
Yeah.
that doesn't surprise me. I think everything that comes out that's new, everyone hates it,
Right.
and then
Right.
it's not until years later that it becomes
That
classic, right?
exactly.
But you know what? When I was first getting into comics and stuff, so this would have been mid to late '80s. That's what he was wearing. He was in the black suit,
Yeah.
and so that was the first real exposure in the comics that I had to Spider-Man. He was wearing this black suit. So
Gotcha.
I saw, as a younger kid, I saw the cartoon, the old '60s cartoon, of course.
Yep.
So of course I knew the red and blue suit well, but I'm talking comics wise, it was black, and I loved it. I love that suit. He looks
Well,
way more badass to me.
well, I guess it's coming in the sequel.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully. So I think there will be definitely be sequels there. But great game. If you do decide to get back into gaming, Gina, pick up a PS4 and grab it. I
I
think you'll.
have I have a PS4.
Oh well, then there's no excuse, right? So next
well,
next episode, we want to hear how you like the game.
well, actually, I kind of felt encouraged when you said that your 4-year-old can play. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I could probably try it then.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think, and you can change the difficulty and whatever. So you
gotcha.
should be able to pick it up pretty easy. Um, so in statue news, uh, kind of a bit of a bombshell from Sideshow.
Uh-huh.
They had basically fully developed a Psylocke and teased it a while back, and here it was. And then it showed up at San Diego Comic Con.
Hmm.
I had a chance to see it, so a couple photos from Comic Con there, and then they say, okay, it's going up for pre-order next week, and bam, then we get this.
Yes.
So obviously you can see that is a completely different head sculpt, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
what? First of all, which one do you like better?
I like the original.
The original?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
I mean,
something a little funny about the new one. I don't know.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I think.
they tweaked it. I think they tweaked the nose, right, of the new one.
Well, it looks like, yeah, the nose, the whole face or shape of the face, the hair flows different,
Yeah.
eyes, like it's all different.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, which one do you prefer?
well, I when they first teased it and that photo on the left, I
Hmm.
thought, okay, that looks pretty good. But when I saw it at Comic Con,
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
I
I
remember that
thought it,
because I asked you. I had when you were there, and I asked you about. I think I asked you about Psylocke because I was sort of interested in that piece, and you right away you told me no, it doesn't. The portrait doesn't work.
yeah, I didn't like it. I know Sideshow's been kind of taking a little bit of criticism for this, but I found it to be a little bit mannish.
Hmm.
Um, but my biggest problem was it didn't look Japanese to me.
Okay.
And I don't follow Psylocke super closely. Maybe she's changed bodies recently. I don't know. But when in that '90s era when I was really into X-Men and the Jim Lee era, right?
Yeah.
She was in a Japanese woman's body,
Yeah.
and that's how I immediately picture Psylocke to be, and that didn't really do it for me.
Gotcha.
Um, so
Yeah.
I think that we'll take another look here. I think that's what they're going for with the change.
Maybe or maybe they were trying to soften up the features because people were commenting how maybe she looked a little bit too. The features were too sharp and a bit mannish. So maybe they're just trying to soften sort of
Yeah,
her features up. Um, for me personally, I didn't mind the fact that she wasn't completely Asian or it lacked that. For me, it was sort of very very sharp sharp jawline and
yeah.
um,
And I
you
found
know
that in
yeah.
person that really stood out to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
for me too, it wasn't the portrait wasn't a total fail. I mean, I had liked it, but it wasn't enough for me. I didn't like it enough to purchase it or to want to purchase it. I mean, I thought, but everything else was amazing.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
here, just one sec. I'll switch back to the Comic Con pictures, and like I said, neck down. I really liked it. I thought they
yeah,
had great colors.
yeah.
I know people don't like the base much, but I like that pink that they use. It's sort of a little bit of purple in there, some pink.
So
I thought it
was
looked
it
great.
was it like a translucent
Um,
or was
I
it just
I think
polystyrene?
so. I think so.
Okay,
But don't quote me on that.
okay. I like the
I,
base.
I think it looked good. I like again the colors
Yeah.
stood out to me. The swords looked good. I think the pose is a little close to the previous PF, and
Yes, yes.
the other females they've been coming out with, like Rogue that was there, and then X-23, which was kind of flanking her in the her where she was,
Yeah,
were both very dynamic, and then she's not so much. So
right.
I think there was more they could have done with the pose, but yeah, neck down looked really good,
Yeah.
but I didn't love it. So I don't know. I'll wait for more angles on the new one. But why do you think they changed it in the first place? Do you think it was public criticism?
I think okay. Well, I think it was public criticism, but I don't think Sideshow, just from my own speculations. I mean, obviously, I don't know the insides of what happens in there, but Sideshow doesn't. It doesn't. To me, they don't seem to be the type of company that caters and and bends to public will. Just say once they're happy with their artwork and whatever, they just move ahead. So I'm thinking, one of my theories about this is, and just speculating once again, is that yes, there was some strong public opinions against the portrait, but even beforehand, they themselves maybe were not happy with it. So maybe just the public comments sort of just precipitated them making the change anyways, because they themselves perhaps were not happy. And so that's my thought. I think maybe it's just that they were not necessarily bowing to public pressure, but the public pressure just sort of pushed them in that direction that they wanted to go anyways, and say, hey, yeah, maybe let's just make a few changes and a few tweaks.
Yeah.
What do you think? I don't know.
Well, like you said, Sideshow doesn't change shit for anybody.
Yes.
Really. If they like it, they're not going to change it.
Yeah.
Unless maybe someone's telling them to, or that they have to listen to. Like maybe Marvel or Disney said, you know what?
Oh, okay.
We don't like it.
That's true.
Now, one thing, typically at these conventions, you'll see these statues on display, the new ones, and in the fine print, a little sign beside it, it'll say pending approval, right?
Right.
Sideshows don't say that, so I wonder if they get things fully approved. I don't know. So
maybe.
So maybe they do get all their stuff fully approved ahead of time, right. Which would
they
mean
did
that
they did alter the they did alter the Magneto though. So they had their Magneto. So they do make changes, but the changes they do make are usually limited as well. I mean, maybe perhaps because of timing and because of the where they are in the production, that they're just too far along to make drastic changes, right? So, and that might be the case with this one, with this Psylocke as well. The too far along in the whole production schedule to make any drastic changes. So they'll just do a few tweaks here and there. But as you said too, that's a very good point. I didn't think about. Maybe it was the licensors that came back to Sideshow. And
I think something. You know what? Even if Marvel's their boss, right? So if Marvel could have approved it, and then maybe it goes up higher down the line at Marvel, and someone says, "Hey, wait a second, I don't like it," and you're going to change it, and so they rush out, because that's still a pretty quick turnaround for a brand new head to be sculpted, printed. Fixed up, painted, and photographed, everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty quick turnaround. So unless they were already working on it, who knows?
But if they were, I don't think they would have shown that portrait.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So probably it happened since then. So that's like, what was that, mid-July?
Yeah.
So 2 months.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was either them deciding they didn't like it or someone above them telling them to change it. I don't think they caved to public opinion.
Okay.
Because when you look at all of a sudden, now that they've changed it, there's all these people that, oh my God, I loved it. I loved it before. It was so beautiful.
Yes, that's right.
And all these people, and you swear these are the same people that when it was released said, "Oh, I hate it. It's gross. Change it." You know. So
I mean, that goes for I guess a lot of different, I guess, aspects of pop culture, movies and statues, even statues that get released, and collectors sort of point out issues they have, and the next thing you know, 2 years later, I mean, that statue is almost impossible to find. It's so expensive. Now it's really appreciated. I mean, it happens.
Like what some examples of that: Silver Surfer was hated.
Okay.
Gambit PF was not well received.
Oh, seriously?
And it's it's worth a lot of money now. Both of those are.
Yeah.
But anyway, some other news in the statue world. XM released an article about their made-to-order system.
Yeah.
And so here's just a quick screenshot of the start of their article, and they go through and they sort of it's called Demystifying the XM Made-to-Order. Because I think a lot of people. We touched on this, was it first or second episode, the declining edition sizes?
I think maybe the first one, our first episode.
Yeah, so we
I
were
think
talking
so.
about declining edition sizes, and XM was an example we used.
Yeah.
Moon Knight was an example. Scorpion, Darth Maul. These statues coming out with really low numbers. So I think that led a lot of people to speculate. Hey, maybe they're not doing well.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in financial trouble. So they put out this article explaining what it is, and it's basically what it sounds like, right? They put up a statue for a set amount of time, however many orders they get, up to a certain limit. There's always a limit from each brand that they have, um, and then once the time limit cuts off, they add it all up, and that's how many they make. So seeing that, does that change your desire to order quickly when these things come up for pre-order, or are you still? I don't know if you do this, but in general, do you think people will still wait and try to pick it up cheaper down the line when people decide, oh, I can't have this gigantic statue anymore, I got to unload it, and they sell it for half price?
Well, I think collectors have each collector has their own way of deciding when to purchase. Um, so some always wait for the aftermarket and look for good deals, which makes perfect sense. Um, some just say, "Listen, I'm only going to order 2 statues a year. That's it." So they'll pre-order it. They don't mind. They're not going to wait for the aftermarket. So for me in particular, with this made to order, yeah, to answer your question, for me and how I order, it would probably make me order more quickly if it was a statue I really want and that I really appreciated. And then I know, or it's been established that it's made to order, it would make me want to order more quickly. It's sort of to be on the ball, yeah, because it's not going to have a 1,000 edition size anymore, and
Yeah.
it's possible it can sell out within 2 days, one day, who knows, right? How about you? I mean, will this make you order more quickly, or
Well, I mean, I usually have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to order
yeah?
ahead of time, right? These statues get teased for months and months before they go up for pre-order, and I pretty much know
Are
what
you
I'm
like a day
getting.
one? Are you like a day one? Like with that? Like,
Usually,
yeah.
usually, if it's something that I've decided I want it, I'll just buy it,
Okay.
or I'll just order it. I don't typically wait around.
I'm pretty
Um,
much day one too. Just
yeah,
just just to
if
get it. Yeah.
I figure if I can wait it out, then I don't really want it. But some statues I'll pick up down the line. But most of the time, so to answer this question, it doesn't really sway me to order in a different fashion than before. I still am going to order it day one. But I think in general, um, some people might order right away and knowing that there might only be 270 of whatever it is that
Yeah.
they're trying to buy, and you might not get that one later on
Yeah.
for half price, right?
So
Uh,
just to establish though, this system is a bit different than sideshow system of like limited edition, because limited edition means that they would produce that particular statue, but we would never know what the ES is. And they'll stop and they will stop producing it at whatever time they decide to. But this system is different.
so you're talking like a Galactus?
Galactus
Uh,
and even I think their very first Stormtrooper
yeah,
was a magician, and then
and
their very first R2D2 C3PO premium format, the one on the sand base,
right, and the
was limited.
Hulk, the movie Hulk was yeah, okay, so
Okay,
yeah, that one I don't think we'll ever know how
yeah,
many they made,
and
right?
this is different because this is just a limited time window,
Yeah, and then
and once
they'll
it's
release the
done, it's
numbers, yeah,
done.
yeah,
And
and they
then they
do
do
give you the
tell you,
number,
right? And then they do
yeah,
tell you what the ES is at the end.
yeah, so definitely different. So I think people will, I think it will bring people back to pre-ordering. So is that what you think too, or
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
yeah,
think and I think I think this system would become more popular with companies themselves like doing it. I mean, it makes more sense in terms. No company wants to have a warehouse full of statues
yeah,
that they can't sell.
you can't have that
So,
overstock.
and for me, I think too. And tell me if you see differently. But I see this system as almost like a win-win, like win for the company, win for the collector. Um, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I think for collectors, for sure, it is because you're not going to get these inflated numbers.
Right.
And for XM, they touched on that a little bit. It doesn't necessarily bring their costs down, but in a way, I guess it kind of does because they don't have a bunch sitting there
In a
in their
warehouse full of,
warehouse.
yeah. So,
So, yeah, I think it is win-win.
yeah.
So let's stay on the XM topic a little bit, and we'll talk about the Singapore Toy Game and Comic Convention, STGCC, which went last weekend. XM is kind of the biggest producer in that region. Singapore is their home country. That's where they're based. So they obviously had a huge influence there. So there's tons of pictures here to go through. So I'm going to flip through them here quick. But stop me if you want to
Okay.
discuss anything more closely. So here's I think a pretty cool one here. We got Rocket and Groot. And first, before we go any further, we've these photos I've stolen from Augustine Lowe, great Singapore collector, good friend.
Thank you,
So
Augie.
Augie, a lot of his photos are his, and we got CY Tan as well. I've borrowed some of his photos. I
Thank
think
you.
he lives in Malaysia, so he's a local, kind of local to Singapore in a way.
Yeah, both those
Um,
guys are awesome.
and another guy, Christian Brumbarchi, stolen some of his pics as well. So returning the favor. He's the ultimate picture sharing guy.
He is.
Uh,
He's cool.
some of these are his as well. So Rocket and Groot. We'll show a couple close-ups of their portraits here. I think a very cool piece.
I think it's
Um,
cool.
I wasn't expecting to see it fully painted, but definitely a welcome surprise. I think they look pretty cool. And then keeping along that theme, we've got Star Lord.
Yeah, this one actually surprised me.
This one was, yeah, I thought it was surprisingly really good.
Yeah, I liked it.
I wasn't expecting to see it there again because it was kind of flying under the radar.
Yeah. So
Um,
is the mask portrait or the helmet portrait, is that like a light up feature there that they're
yes,
doing? Yeah,
yeah, it
that's really
does light
cool.
up. And he's got a couple different arm positions you can see there. He's got an unmasked portrait there. The base is very cool.
Yeah.
You can't see it here, but it's like he's stepping through the broken window of his ship. And there's like the cockpit in behind him with all the buttons and controls
Hmm.
on the cockpit and the chair. Really, really cool. Um, if anyone wants to see these closer, I would recommend checking out It's Cisco, her YouTube channel, Rebecca
Hmm.
Fink. She was there and does excellent coverage. So I've watched
Yeah.
all her videos, and she did a great job.
She always
Uh,
has yeah, she always has really good videos.
so Star Lord, I think was I might be convinced there to pick that one up.
Okay.
But here's a couple female statues. Uh,
Yeah, right away, Mystique. I mean, I had liked the statue before, but seeing these photos and seeing her now, I mean, I liked her even more after seeing
yeah,
these more closely.
which
Yeah.
so that's just one setup there for her. She's got a few different poses, short-haired portrait as well. Which one do you prefer?
I like them both evenly, I would say.
So yeah, so do
Yeah.
you switch out like there's all the
Occasionally.
statues? Yeah, so you do change up the display a little bit.
Occasionally, sometimes. It depends on the statue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't do it very often, but I've done it with Magneto a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
He's one that I would do. Yeah.
yeah, so Mystique, yeah, I like that, and I think people were worried about her foot being up in the air there, but I think it is resting on that base,
Hmm.
so she's kind of leaning up there. What do you think
Hmm.
of Scarlet Witch?
I like it. That I was really surprised at as well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's her debut. I don't think she's been in any other ones before.
yeah, I hadn't seen her before. I
Um,
was really surprised. I like it.
yeah, I like kind of the glossy red and the pink on her outfit and that.
Yeah.
So cool piece. And then we got Gambit. So that is he does have a switch out. I couldn't find a good picture in time of the switch out, the longer haired one.
Okay.
But there's a close up of his short haired portrait. And this is one. It's not new. It's been shown before.
Hmm.
But they did make some changes. I think they changed the cards to being from a translucent resin to a painted effect.
Oh, okay.
And I think that was for long-term stability. They worry about the clear stuff bending and moving over time.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I think that still looks pretty good. I
Hmm.
like this Gambit a lot. I know people aren't crazy about the pose and stuff, but I think he
Mhm.
looks pretty cool. Spider-Man. This is the reworked Spider-Man. I saw Spider-Man, the old one, in person last year,
Mhm.
and it looked pretty good. But I think they've improved it. Um,
Didn't they cut back on the base? Like they removed some elements.
yeah,
Yeah.
the base, the previous base had some switch out enemy items. You could,
Right.
you can see the sand there. That was a switch out before. There was a symbiote coming through before. I think the tentacles were optional before. I can't remember
Mhm.
that for sure. But so this is kind of a bit of a diorama feel to it.
Mhm. Mhm.
You got the pumpkin bombs, the Doctor Octopus tentacles, and everything.
Yeah. What do you think about the sort of unmasked or sort of half
I
masked?
like that one. I think it looks
Yeah.
pretty good. He's got the
I
little
like it too.
cuts on his face. So that was one of the things that got reworked quite a bit.
Mhm.
There's going to be three heads. That one there that you see,
Mhm.
and then there's this. You can see it on the right. That's kind of the bigger eyes, more of a modern portrait.
Okay.
Doctor Octopus to the left there,
Mhm.
but the other Spider-Man head I think is a more of a John Romita style,
Okay.
smaller eyes.
Okay.
So it's three heads for him. I like it. I think the Spider-Man looks good.
I think it looks good too.
The
Mhm.
webbing is improved. Before it was kind of a
Yeah. My only worry, because I mean I really like that Spider-Man. My worry is how heavy is that base? Because some of their bases, I mean, they're getting heavier and heavier. Yeah.
yeah, that can be a problem for sure
Um,
with the shelves and things.
yeah.
But
And then you got
I,
Doc Ock there.
yeah, Doctor Octopus, I love that one.
Yeah.
I can't wait to
You have that
add
one
him.
in order, right?
I will for sure.
Yeah.
Um, that it's one of the. He's probably for me if I had to rank the Spider-Man villains, and maybe that's another show, a show for another day.
Okay.
But I'd put him probably number two.
Okay.
So he's a
Behind.
must-have. Green
Oh,
Goblin. Green Goblin's got to
Green,
be
of
number one.
course.
Yeah. Um, so we'll switch gears here a little bit and show some of the DC stuff. And here's a big reveal from the event. This
Is
is a
it safe
date.
to say, yeah? Is it safe to say that this stole the stole the show? Like,
I think so. I think it's had the most buzz for sure.
yeah.
Um, and some of those teasers we had a couple episodes ago from XM,
Uh-huh.
they just kind of gave them to us, and then we didn't really know what it was. This is what it was from, um, with all the villains in one. So this is, I think, 1/6 scale,
Hmm.
and you have like 12. 12, is it 12 characters? I didn't count them.
I didn't count, but
Let's see. We got Bane, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Scarecrow,
but the,
Clayface, Joker, Man Bat, and Two Face,
yeah,
and of course Batman in the middle.
yeah.
This looks really cool. Designed by David Finch.
Hmm.
So it is going to be painted, fully painted, and it will be revealed fully painted at New York Comic Con.
So
So
I heard that there are they thinking about doing two versions, one where it's fully painted and the other one where only Batman.
as far as I know, it's going to be fully painted. I don't think there's
Okay.
going to be any variants of it.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, and it looks pretty cool. I think Batman fans that might be a centerpiece for.
Yeah.
Here's another brand new one that was a little bit of a surprise.
Hmm.
Kind of they hadn't really hinted they were doing it before, right?
I don't think
Red
so.
Hulk. So this one, sculpted by Aaron Ray Perez, who's done a few fan art Hulks, I think, in the past.
Hmm.
Um, I think they're gonna downsize it a little bit. They said it came out a little too big,
Oh, okay.
maybe, but looks pretty cool to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
So let's, and then another Hulk. They had another Hulk make its debut, and this is the Hulk transformation.
Hmm.
Now, last year they had teased this with just a big render, like a poster of the render,
Yep. I
and
remember that. Yeah.
so a year later, we have it making its fully painted debut.
Hmm.
So this was another one that's people are pretty excited about.
Hmm.
What do you think about it?
I love it. I think it. I mean, I should be the last one to judge a Hulk statue because the Hulk is not my is not a character that I gravitate to at all. But in terms of capturing both Dr. Banner and the Hulk, You're getting two statues, sort of in one. And I could see that. I think they had shown how you can display it with Dr. Banner in front of the Hulk or beside the Hulk.
Yeah,
Yeah, it almost turns into a diorama, kind of like what we were talking about with Spider-Man. I think it's great. I mean, I'm sort of glad or happy that I'm not a Hulk fan, or then
yeah,
I'd have to go for this. It's like, yeah,
yeah.
I
No
got to get this
kidding.
in my collection. So I'm sort of glad that I can sort of, admire this piece from afar. Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
did a really good job.
I think that's an excellent looking Hulk. I mean, look at the face there; it looks really intense.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were concerned about Banner um, being stuck in front there. But
Hmm.
yeah, you can move him off to the side if you like, or just keep him in the box if you don't want him at all.
Hmm.
So another one, Hulkbuster was there. This one's just starting to sort of trickle out, I
Hmm.
think. A few people have it in hand. So I saw it last year. Awesome, awesome statue.
Yeah.
And they
This is not a made to order piece by them,
no, I
is it?
think this is I think there's 9.99 of those. I think they maxed it out.
Okay.
And a few tweaks from last year. Like Iron Man's chin was red before, and now they've made it gold.
Okay.
Just that little part under the mouth.
Okay.
Um, it looks really cool. Very cool piece. So we'll go back to DC, and the 1/6 line
Mm.
was displayed fully painted, all of them. So we got Wonder Woman and Superman here.
That's probably
So
my favorite. That's my favorite piece of.
which one? Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I think she's probably number one on the list so far from that line, for me as well.
Hmm.
Superman, but he made his debut. I hadn't shown him before. He's pretty cool.
Hmm.
When you watch him in the videos, they show how his feet are floating, and he's kind of attached around the back of his cape, and so it looks like he's floating in midair. So it's a pretty
Oh,
neat
cool.
effect. Pretty nice looking Superman. Rebirth outfit, as you can see, doesn't have the red undies, so I know
Yeah.
that's a I know that's a non-starter for some people, but I think it looks pretty good. Um, the Flash and Aquaman,
Yeah. These pieces
uh,
are really cool.
yeah. Um, the one thing I don't love about the Flash, and I don't know, maybe they'll change it later, is the lightning bolts. They are painted gold, I think,
Okay.
and I don't know that gold effect isn't doing it for me. But
Yeah.
otherwise, pretty cool pose, and he's on the treadmill. Obviously,
Yeah.
is a big part of his. Um,
Yeah. I think it was. I mean, I think it was the Aquaman that surprised me the most, in
yeah,
terms of how well it came out.
yeah,
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. They were when I was there last year. They'd kind of been tossing around ideas. They're like, "Oh, we want to put him on a seahorse." I'm like, "What? You want to do what?" Like, you want- sorry, but yeah, I think they pulled it off. You're right.
Yeah, and then I mean, there's a certain angle to the left of Aquaman where you have the fishes swimming in sort of a swarm of fishes.
Yeah, you can see
You
them
can't
just
see,
underneath
yeah,
the
right.
seahorse there.
But from that angle, it's just beautiful. Like they're sort of floating, swimming around the seahorse. It's
Yeah,
just one thing I like about what they've done with this six scale, and what I like about smaller scales just overall is you can just sort of do so much more that you probably couldn't do with quarter scale. 'Cause,
yeah,
you
it'd be
know,
too big.
it would just
That
be
like
too big. It would be too complex. It just in that scale wouldn't work. But they doing that for, yeah, like that flash in six scale, couldn't do that in 40 quarter scale. I mean, you could, but it would just be
Yeah,
too big. So
I'm liking the line. It looks good.
yeah.
I'm hoping that Green Lantern might be at New York Comic Con.
Mm, okay.
Fingers crossed, but I don't know. It's still getting printed out, I believe. So,
Okay.
another DC piece that debuted.
Hmm.
We got Shogun Batman.
Yeah, we finally got to see the entire statue.
Yeah, and I think very cool piece.
Hmm.
This one I think has people excited as well.
Yeah,
I think the main criticism I saw was they just didn't see enough Batman there.
I heard the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
But when you look at it, there's quite a few. You look at the helmet of the one on the left. There's a little bat emblem there. He's got a couple switch out chest plates, I believe, and there's little bat logos kind of all over the place. You know, you got the blades on the forearms.
Yeah.
Got some switch out heads. You can go with more of a traditional style Batman if you like. Here's a closer look at the. I don't know what kind of mask you'd call that, like an Oni mask, maybe.
Maybe.
Um,
I don't know. I think they're. I mean, I sort of see what people are saying. I kind of agree that maybe it'd be nice if there's a bit more of Batman. You know,
yeah,
but I
they're
mean,
they're kind of handcuffed in a way with the license. They
yeah,
have to. It can't be too much Batman, right?
that's right. That's right.
So, cool piece, but I think I'm gonna have to admire that one from afar.
Mm-hmm.
That's just I won't be able to fit that one in. Um, but cool. And so we'll switch back to Marvel here, and we got the brown suit Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
A couple different display options shown there: arms forward, arms back, masked and unmasked. He's gonna have, I believe, some bone claws that you can put in either pose,
Yeah.
and then some katana blades that you can put in the arms back pose, I
Yeah.
believe is what they're for.
Yeah.
And what do you think of this guy?
I like it. I was one thing I wasn't expecting to like as much was the base. At the back of the base, I think there's like a koi fish
Yeah,
that looks really, really good. I didn't expect to like it that much. I like it. I think it did a good job.
yeah, that's a Japanese theme, so that's kind of the Frank Miller era, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
of Wolverine. He goes to Japan to train and meets some Japanese woman and things. I the brown suit. I love the brown suit.
Okay.
Again, that's kind of similar to the black suit Spider-Man. When I first started getting into X-Men, I think that's the suit he
Okay.
was in.
Okay.
So it's the one I remember most fondly. So I'm excited for this one.
Okay.
Professor X, he's got two options there. He's got the
Yeah.
hover chair and the wheelchair. I don't think I would get a Professor X statue, but if I did, I would get the hover chair.
I would get the
Which
hover
one?
chair too, for sure.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask
Uh,
you the same question. Yeah, the hover chair. I like the other one. It's classic, but the hover chair is really impressive. I would.
yeah, nice gold there. It
Yeah.
looks nice and nice metallic look there. So good, good. Um, yeah, that would be my choice for sure. I think.
Yeah.
Cyclops. Again, this is one that's been seen before, but he's
Mm-hmm.
got two torsos. He's got the screaming one, kind of raging, shooting up in the air, and then the more classic hand to his visor,
Mm-hmm.
straight ahead beam, and there's a light up feature there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he looks pretty cool. It's a Jim Lee era
Mm-hmm.
costume. I would like to see somebody do, the older
I would
Cyclops.
too. Yeah, with the darker blue, like
Darker
that navy.
blue and the
Yeah.
kind of the hood over his hair, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like this one though, so
Yeah.
I probably.
I've always loved that older suit of Cyclops. But I always think to myself, I guess people would complain how it wouldn't match their other X-Men characters who are in the modern suits, and.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
More X Men. We got Omega Red. A lot of people, when they showed the close up of that portrait, it
That
looked really,
portrait.
really good.
Yeah.
Um, that's not a character that I'm super interested in, but I think the statue looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Magneto, the white costume Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think I need a white costume Magneto, but if you did, I think it looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I've never been into the white costume Magneto, so that for me, I mean, I like with the base, but
Yeah,
for me, I don't have any sort of affiliation to that character.
yeah.
I really like what they did with Omega Red, and I love not just the sculpt of the portrait, but I love that skin tone that they
Hmm.
gave him. Yeah,
Yeah,
they did a
kind of
good
that
job.
real
Yeah,
pale look.
yeah.
Magneto, if Magneto was the standard comic book costume, I
Mm-hmm,
would get it. I
mm-hmm.
would get that in a heartbeat. It's really, really impressive when you see it. I saw it unpainted last year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Um, Alien, this is one that kind of, I think we knew they were working on it, but I wasn't expecting to see it fully
Yeah,
painted.
I wasn't either.
What do you think of that one?
I
You're a
like it.
big Alien fan, right?
I sort of. I don't really collect alien
Yeah.
collectibles or anything like that. But no, I mean, I like it. I
Yeah,
I
and
like
you
the
got
pose. I like, yeah.
it's sort of a kind of a hive mentality. You got him stepping on the one below.
Yeah.
I think the little inner mouth is removable. I think I heard someone say that
Okay.
on a video, so maybe you can put it back in the mouth. I'm not
Okay.
sure 100%, but
Cool.
here's another look at the alien from another angle, and of course the predator, which
Mhm.
Predator was shown last year, but this one's been tweaked a bit. They've cut the base down
That's
significantly,
right. Yeah.
and they fixed the hair. They've really made it sort of drape more naturally,
Hmm.
and I really like that improvement. And I swore I wasn't gonna get a Predator that wasn't the from the first movie,
Okay.
the Jungle Hunter Predator.
Okay.
But this one I think has convinced me otherwise.
Gotcha.
It is pretty awesome. And then Transformers, we saw a couple quick teasers of this one a couple episodes ago. And
Yep.
so here's Megatron makes his full debut. Um, I think a lot of people are saying that neck down, kind of like Psylocke from Sideshow, excellent piece.
But they
They're
don't
not
like the portrait.
they're not feeling the portrait,
Uh,
which it looks nice, and but that's not doesn't have that real Megatron essence, if you know what I mean. If you did you watch the cartoons much?
I did. I did watch the original, just the original.
Yeah.
Um,
So what do you think about it?
I I mean, I think the portrait looks fine. Um,
I wouldn't say no to a switch out
yeah.
if they wanted to come with a more classic
Yeah.
looking switch out.
I think for me though, I mean, when it comes to robots, maybe my expectations or my standards for portraits might be a bit different than if it was an actual person.
Yeah.
Um, with the robot, for me, I'm not as stringent, so maybe that's why it doesn't that the portrait doesn't bother me as much or as other people. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and myself, I'm not a hardcore Transformers guy. I definitely
Hmm.
wouldn't say that.
Hmm.
So again, I'm in that same boat. It doesn't. I think it looks nice. I like it,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I can understand that when you see that side by side with how he looks in other forms, it could be tweaked a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I
Uh,
still think that there's Starscream is probably one of the best from that line.
Starscream, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's just
I saw that
incredible.
one last year. They're huge. They're huge statues. They're massive, and I have a friend that's going to order pretty. I think Optimus Prime and probably this one.
Hmm.
So I should get a pretty close look at them later on.
That's cool.
And then a newer company, Legendary Beast Studios, who are kind of I think piggybacking on the XM license
Okay.
to release some different scaled stuff. So this is a Captain America 1/3 scale, and I think this is the first Marvel statue in 1/3 scale, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Can you? I can't think of any other 1/3 Marvels.
I know at least for Captain Marvel, that's the first. I can't think of any. You're right though. I'm not sure if there's any. There might be.
Yeah, because I mean Prime One, they're the big 1/3, and they
Yeah.
don't have it, right?
Right.
So I like that portrait a lot. I
Me
think
too.
that looks really good,
Me
Captain
too.
America. So
Isn't there sort of a switch out where you can place the shield hanging on his back?
probably,
Because
probably,
I thought that was so cool.
did they show that? I didn't see it.
I saw it
Uh,
somewhere. I saw it in some photo.
okay,
There's just been so many great photos being shared of this convention. Some photo where it was some swap out that I think you can hang the shield on his
yeah,
back. But if
I'm
I'm
sure you
wrong,
can.
if I'm wrong, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost sure. But I think that was amazing.
Yeah, lots of nice texture on that suit, so you get the 1/3 detail there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they've got at the other opposite end of the spectrum, they've got this 1/7 line. It's
Hmm.
called the Impact series. So here's one of the early ones, the Juggernaut. And these are, even though despite the size, this one is it's a pricey statue. It's going to cost you probably more than most 1/4 scale pieces.
Wow.
At least if you're looking at sideshow style
Hmm.
pricing. Um, so yeah, I think for big Juggernaut fans, maybe only,
Hmm.
but cool piece. Um, I think people didn't love the sort of red metallic look on the helmet,
Right.
but
I heard the same things. Yeah. But I heard that they're just reworking that. So,
yeah, I mean
but
it was painted probably 2 days before.
yeah.
Um, and then here's another one, the Spider-Man. They're obviously they're going for high action.
Yeah.
Um, all kinds of stuff happening in behind him. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's like
This one, I'm really curious to see it get painted.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a spider slayer maybe behind him?
I
Looks
think
like
so.
yeah. That looks cool. I mean
Yeah.
that one might pique my interest. I'm still waiting to see it finished. But
Hmm.
and then there were other characters. I think they had Iceman, Captain Marvel, were a couple more. So they have definitely big plans for that line. Another Singapore-based company is HMO,
Hmm.
and we talked to Mufazal last week, or
Hmm.
last episode, sorry. And a couple characters that he said, mentioned in that talk were Iori on the left, and then Mai from King of Fighters. It's an SNK brand. I'm not super familiar with either of these characters, but the guy on the left I think looks pretty cool.
Hmm.
I like the bright flame effect that they've got,
Yeah.
and the base when you see it from the top, it's like a mirrored kind of finish,
Oh,
like almost like
cool.
black glass,
Oh, cool.
and it's very kind of classy look. I think
Yeah.
the
Are
girl on the
these are these quarter scale? Sorry.
yeah they are,
Yeah.
um, and that I believe is Sofara in the background there on the left,
Cool.
one of the HMO artists. The girl on the right, I know fans weren't super pleased with, but yeah, I'm sure they'll rework it a little bit. Another piece that they debuted and that we talked about was Warhammer. So
Yeah.
this one fully painted. It's a diorama. I think 1/6 scale roughly, maybe smaller because these guys are actually quite large in their armor.
Okay.
So the scale might be smaller,
Right.
but huge looking piece. I mean, you can
Mm.
see it compared to Mufazal there in the back. Um, cool. I mean, are you familiar with Warhammer? Have you ever played that game?
No, I mean I've seen the stores,
Yeah,
GameStop, and you kind of pass by it, but um,
yeah. The Games Workshops. Again,
yeah.
we have it. I walk by it every time, and I look in through the window and kind of kind of in awe of these figures. But I have to stop myself because I would buy them all. But the statue looks really good, and then
Hmm.
here's sort of a closer look at the black guy. I'm not sure. I don't know what faction he's from, but I would say he's maybe the bad guy because he's in black. And then we've got this big general-looking dude, and he has an unmasked portrait, but I think they're reworking that as well.
Okay.
But very cool. Um, very cool pieces from HMO. Um, anything from them that kind of caught your eye a little bit?
Those last photos of the Warhammer statues were pretty cool. Really detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just from someone
Um,
who knows nothing about it, I can, I'm still highly impressed. It's
yeah, same. I can't. I don't know much about the characters or the game other than they look cool. Um, but one company that we'll kind of have to skip and maybe talk about another day is Royal Selangor.
hmm.
They were there. They had a lot of their Marvel or sorry, yeah, Marvel and DC
Hmm.
stuff. They had a big. You remember at the end of Age of Ultron,
Yeah.
the big
Yeah.
statue that for the end credits. They had
Yep.
that in pewter, and it looked
Yeah.
really cool.
I think they only had like 300. I think that's the edition size.
Yeah, it's a small number, and then
Yeah.
they're working closely with XM, so they're producing the Samurai Batman in pewter and a smaller scale, and their Iron Man, the classic Iron Man. Do you have that one?
Classic
The,
Iron Man from
yeah,
X-Men. Yeah, you have that
yeah.
one.
So they're doing that one in smaller scale pewter, and it looks
Computer,
they look really
awesome,
cool.
awesome.
So we'll maybe talk about them another day.
We
But
should.
anything from the entire STGCC that either changed your mind and you're definitely going to order, or maybe the reverse, what you thought you wanted and maybe don't?
No, I think there were a few statues that sort of convinced me. Like I was already in that mode of getting it, especially that 6 scale Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
I was already in the mode of getting it. I was in the groove. I'm gonna get it, and then seeing there's just so many awesome photos that people were sharing from that convention, and just seeing everyone's photos. I'm like, oh yeah. So the Wonder Woman I think is just on the top of my list right now, that I saw from that convention, and that Spider Man. I think I'm
which one?
maybe
The 1/4 scale?
the 6 scale one.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay, yeah,
the quarter scale kind of looks like a diorama
yeah,
where he's swinging. That one I think convinced me a bit more now that we've seen the changes. So,
yeah.
how about
It's
you?
nice. Star Lord is the one that really stood out to me.
Okay.
Is was not on my list
Hmm.
prior to the event. After the event, I think it's I think I gotta have it. It looks. I love those movies. I know that's not the movie outfit. It's
Right.
more his comic book outfit from the um, not his original outfit, but the Annihilation
Mhm.
comic book series. I think he wears that during that event. So
So,
Rocket,
were you a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy before the films,
no,
like in the
no.
comics? Oh, okay.
I didn't know much about them, but I love the movies,
Yeah.
and sometimes that has to come first, right? And you go back and start
Yeah.
reading, and you like the characters more.
Yeah.
Um, so that one, Rocket and Groot, I really like. I don't think I'll have room for them. Um, but yeah, Star Lord for sure, and the Brown Wolverine was kind of already on my list.
Okay.
But I really liked it, even though it's getting a lot of criticism. It seems
Hmm.
the belt, the thing, a little metal tip on his belt. I mean, I don't
Right.
know. I don't love it, but I don't hate it that much that it
Hmm.
would sway me to not to get it. But
Yeah.
anyways, I thought XM put on a really good show. HMO had
Hmm.
some good stuff. Really cool event. It's kind of a smaller event, more intimate. You can go in there and chat with anybody from these companies and lots of collectors from around the world there. So if you ever get the
Yeah.
chance to go, I'm hoping to get back there eventually.
Yeah.
You have any plans to go there?
Maybe. Hope to see. I mean, it seems like I've just only heard good things about that convention. So, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot of fun, and the
Yeah.
conventions for me, I mean, it's more about really meeting the people.
Hmm.
That's what I have the most fun doing, seeing people that you've chatted with for ages on Facebook, or people that maybe in Singapore is kind of neat. Like people come up to me, oh, I watch your videos, and I don't really think of anybody watching my videos, to be honest.
Yeah.
So the fact that anybody's out there, let alone halfway around the world,
Yeah.
was pretty neat. So I would love to get back there. So, anyways, I think we'll wrap the show there.
Uh-huh.
Next episode, we'll maybe look at the next convention coming up, which I think is New York Comic Con,
That's right.
and so we'll dive into that one a little bit. So, anyways, good episode. I think I had a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So, thanks again, Gina, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show.
Bye, guys.